Hello and welcome to the review of the anatomical planes with Legacy. This presentation is designed to assist you in passing the CPC certification exam. What are anatomical planes of the body and why are they so important? Anatomical planes are imaginary flat surfaces used to visualize and study the human body. There are three primary planes of the body: sagittal, frontal, and transverse. By using these planes, physicians and researchers can describe the position and relationship of the various structures within the body, which is crucial for understanding the anatomy and diagnosing diseases. The sagittal plane is a vertical plane that divides the body into left and right portions. If the plane passes through the midline of the body, it is called the median sagittal plane, and it divides the body into two equal halves. This plane is named after the sagittal suture of the skull, which runs along the midline of the skull from the frontal to the occipital bone. When we talk about the sagittal plane, we often refer to three different types of sagittal planes. The first is the median. This is the sagittal plane that runs along the midline of the body, dividing it into two equal left and right halves. The median sagittal plane divides the body into symmetrical halves, and it's the plane of symmetry for the body. Second is the parasagittal plane. These are sagittal planes that are parallel to the median sagittal plane but off-center. Parasagittal planes divide the body into unequal left and right portions. Finally is the oblique sagittal plane. These are sagittal planes that are slanted or angled with respect to the body's midline, rather than being strictly vertical. Oblique sagittal planes can divide the body into two portions depending on their angle. By using these different sagittal planes, medical professionals can examine and analyze structures and organs in the body's left and right sides, which is important for diagnosis and treatment of many medical conditions. This plane is particularly useful for examining the spine, the brain, the skull, and the limbs. In medical imaging such as X-rays, CT scans, and MRI scans, the sagittal plane is often used to create images that show structures in the body from the side, which can reveal important information about the size, shape, and orientation of different organs and tissues. The sagittal plane is frequently used in anatomical descriptions and medical illustrations to show the relationship of different organs and structures within the body, such as the position of the heart, lungs, liver, and intestines. Overall, the sagittal plane is an essential tool for understanding the complex anatomy of the human body and is used extensively in both clinical practice and research. The frontal plane, also called the coronal plane, is a vertical plane that runs from side to side and divides the body into anterior and posterior portions. This plane is named after the coronal suture of the skull, which runs from one ear to the other across the top of the skull. When we talk about the frontal plane, we often refer to two different types of frontal planes. First is the frontal plane. This is the standard frontal plane that divides the body into anterior and posterior positions. Second is the parafrontal plane. These are frontal planes that are parallel to the standard frontal plane but off-center. Parafrontal planes divide the body into unequal anterior and posterior portions. The frontal plane is useful in examining structures and organs in the body from the front and back, such as the heart, lungs, liver, and stomach. It is also helpful in analyzing the movement and mechanics of the limbs and joints, such as in sports medicine and physical therapy. Like the sagittal plane, the frontal plane is used extensively in medical imaging and anatomical descriptions, as well as in surgical procedures and diagnostic tests. By using the frontal plane, medical professionals can gain a comprehensive understanding of the anatomy and function of various structures of the body. The transverse plane, also known as the horizontal plane or axial plane, is an imaginary plane that divides the body into superior and inferior portions. This plane is perpendicular to both the sagittal and frontal planes and runs parallel to the ground. When we talk about the transverse plane, we often refer to two different types of transverse planes. The first is the standard transverse plane, which divides the body into the upper and lower portions. The second is the oblique transverse plane. These are transverse planes that are slanted or angled with respect to the body's horizontal axis, rather than being strictly horizontal. The transverse plane is useful for examining structures and organs in the body from a cross-sectional perspective. This plane is particularly important for understanding the anatomy and function of the internal organs, such as the heart, liver, and kidneys, as well as the skeletal systems, such as the pelvis and the spine. Medical professionals use the transverse plane extensively in diagnostic testing, such as CT scans and MRI scans, to create detailed images of the internal structures of the body. The transverse plane is also used in surgical procedures, such as laparoscopic surgeries and biopsies, to access and manipulate internal organs. The transverse plane is a crucial plane in anatomy, providing a cross-sectional view of the body's internal structures. It is used extensively in medical imaging and surgical procedures. To recap, there are three primary planes of the body: sagittal, frontal, and transverse. By using these planes, physicians and researchers can describe the position and relationship of various structures within the body, which is crucial for understanding the anatomy and diagnosing diseases. Let's end our discussion with some humor. Why did the coronal plane break up with the sagittal plane? Because they couldn't see eye to eye. I hope that joke gave you a chuckle. Thank you for joining us for this review. If you would like more details about our intensive CPC training or any of our other training programs, please visit our website at medicalbilco.com.